Hello, wealth creatives. Welcome to today's mini masterclass. We have been diving into the Sacred Money Archetypes, and today is no different. We are going to jump in and learn all about our second Sacred Money Archetype. So the Sacred Money Archetypes give us that glimpse or even a deeper understanding of what is happening in our life with our money, why we make the decisions we make, why we feel the way we do about money, and not only that in ourselves, we also get to witness it in other people too. So it helps us understand our close relationships and how they deal with money, why they make the choices as well. And we're able to have, to not take it so personally. We can step outside and with that external view, understand in a clearer sense why and what is happening as well. So as I said, this whole month of November is Sacred Money Archetype month, and we are going to be talking today about the Accumulator. So hi, if you haven't met me before, my name is Brooke Hunt. I am a financial intuitive here at Laura Elkaslassy Co. At Laura Elkaslassy Co, we are bringing money mentoring into a whole new arena. Money mentoring for so long has all been about strategy, really. And it's missed a vital part, we believe, which is the energetic side and also profitability. The amount of businesses that I worked with who felt just breaking even was a success. It was like their goal. We're not here for that. We're here for you to make wealth on your terms, to create the freedom on your terms. And to do that, you need to absolutely have the strategy, but you also need to understand the energy that goes with that, so you can have the profitability. So they are the three tiers that we use and focus on here at Laura Elkaslassy Co. We've got the energy, the strategy, and the profitability. And so, of course, the Sacred Money Archetypes is part of that energetic arena that we bring into our work. So we want you to know all about them, because when we work with the Sacred Money Archetypes with our clients, the results are phenomenal. It is so many aha and light bulb moments. So we are going to be talking about the Accumulator today. If you are not sure who your top Sacred Money Archetype is, just jump into the comments. You'll see a link to our free quiz. You can discover who yours is. And whether yours is the Accumulator or not, I do encourage you to stick around and listen to the Accumulator, because as I said, as we understand and get a greater knowledge of all of these archetypes, then we can absolutely begin to get a greater view of what is happening, as I said, in our relationships, in the world around us as well. So the Accumulator is one of 8 Sacred Money Archetypes, and we spoke about the ruler yesterday. Today, as I said, is all about the Accumulator. And the Sacred Money Archetypes, they were created by Kendall Summerhawk. And it's really exciting that we get to use them in our work, because when we work with the Sacred Money Archetypes, it really is like cracking the code to your money, to understanding what is happening. And it just, as I said, it is freaking so exciting when we get to do that. But today is all about the Accumulator. The Accumulator is your inner banker. So just have a little think about that. The inner banker, the Accumulator. What thoughts start coming to mind? Who does that make you automatically even think about? You might have someone in your life, or perhaps it's even yourself, who is like that inner banker. So just giving yourself a second just to see what comes up in within you when I say the Accumulator, your inner banker. And if you're the Accumulator, let us know as well. So the Accumulator, what can we tell you about the Accumulator? Well, as it may not be any surprise based on the name, the Accumulator is amazing at saving. They love to accumulate money. It's like that little squirrel that likes to grab all the money and put it away like a squirrel does with nuts, but the Accumulator loves to do that with money. So they have a really close relationship, a close-knitted relationship with money, and they are so amazing at saving. You give an Accumulator a saving goal, well, you don't really have to give it to them, they give them themselves a saving goal, and they will reach that saving goal. They love to accumulate, they love to save. And because of that, the Accumulator is fiercely independent as well of their financial independence. You will find that the Accumulator doesn't like to have to loan money or wants to depend on anyone else. They take their independence with a lot of pride, and it's quite important for them to be financially independent. They will rarely, if ever, take on debt. It is something that just doesn't gel with the Accumulator. If they can't afford it, they won't buy it. Pretty much is the bottom line with the accumulator. As I said, if you're here, say hello. Oh, we've got Michelle here. Hi, Michelle. This Michelle says this is her second one on her list. From memory, Michelle, were you the connector yesterday? Let me know. So yes, the accumulator loves to collect that money and loves to be independent. And because of that, safety is very important to the accumulator. And that would make sense, yes? They like to accumulate money, they like to have that independence. And if they didn't have that money, if they weren't financially independent, then they don't often feel safe. So safety is very important to the accumulator, and that safety, majority of the time, comes in forms of financial security. So the accumulator often feels the more money they have, the more safe they have. The less money they have, the less safe they have. So this is can often be a big part of that push to accumulate the money. They want to feel safe. They want to be okay and have that little nest egg sort of squirreled away for a rainy day, because who knows what will happen. That's the way the accumulator feels and thinks about money. And so they are also very responsible with their money. If you think about the accumulator, they don't just frivolously spend their money. Yes, they will be responsible for it. They take pride in their ability to be able to manage and look after their money. They want to make wise decisions with it. So they love that safety, they love accumulating, they are fierce, that independence, of financial independence is what they love. So hopefully by now you're starting to get an image of the accumulator. You're starting to understand this sacred money archetype a bit deeper, and you're possibly getting a bit of aha moments if you're the accumulator, or you're possibly going, oh my goodness, I know someone who sounds just like that. That sounds like whoever it is. So let me know if that's the case as well. So the sacred strengths for the accumulator. Let's dive into those now. So one of the sacred strengths of the accumulator, they've got 3 sacred strengths, and the first one is that they are trustworthy. And this comes in the sense of that financial trust as well as normal trustworthy. But because they are skilled at that accumulating of money, they are also very careful money managers, and so you can trust them with that money. It's not as though, as I said before, they're not going to go and just spend it on anything. They are very trustworthy when they have that money. They will use it for what they say they'll use it. They'll save it when they say they'll save it. You can absolutely trust the accumulator when it comes to that financial discussion that you are speaking to them about. They are also conscientious. So the accumulator is a very conscientious and considerate caretaker of money. So that custodian of money. They are very considerate about what they use their money for. As I said, they won't just make a quick decision on an expensive purchase. They will stop, they'll consider it, they'll look at the alternatives. They will really look at the pluses and the negatives as to where they spend their money, what they do with their money. So they are very conscientious and considerate when it comes to those funds. And they are also disciplined. Disciplined is the 3rd sacred strength of the accumulator. And as you can imagine, that ties in beautifully with everything that I've spoken to you about before. They are disciplined with their savings. They are disciplined with how they live. They are disciplined with how they spend their money. They are naturally frugal. Oh my goodness, get my words out. It just comes naturally to them to really be disciplined. So as I said, they see something, they're not going to have their that heart pull or that inner oh, I want that. They are very conscientious. They'll be like, nope, not what I'm spending that money for. I've got that earmarked for this or whatever it is. So yes, very disciplined in their spending. Just double check any other comments. Yes, Michelle says she is the connector, so that is coming up soon. But even as this being your second highest, Michelle, because really when we work together in a 3-month looking at the Sacred Money Archetypes, we look at our top 3 and we also look at our bottom 1 as well. The top 3 are all very important when it comes to looking at the strengths and really the weaknesses of your Sacred Money Archetype mixture. So you may be hearing and noticing a lot of resonance in what I'm saying as well about the accumulator in yourself, Michelle, because as I said, even as your second one, that's a very strong correlation to you as well. And I must say, as I'm talking to you and going through all of these Sacred Money Archetypes, it is that generalization of that energy, of that archetypal energy of the accumulator. When we work together one-on-one, it is that deeper level of personal understanding of the archetypes and how they work in your life. But I will tell you more about that in a little bit. The Sacred Money contract of the accumulator is, now listening to this again, when I talk about this Sacred Money contract, you may like just to close down your eyes and just feel this as well. And you may notice that your body loves part of this contract and doesn't love part of this contract. So it is always fascinating to notice that body reaction as well. So the Sacred Money contract for the accumulator is to respect the power of money by investing to create freedom. Now, as I said, part of that is going to really resonate with accumulators, and part of that is going to be a struggle for them. And that is why it's that Sacred Money contract. That is, it shows us the part that this Sacred Money archetype, this accumulator really needs to focus on to bring that Sacred Money contract to life. So again, it's to respect the power of money by investing to create freedom. Now, based on what I've told you of the accumulator, you might already have an idea of which part of that is that difficulty for the accumulator. And if you said it was the investing to create freedom part, you'd be absolutely right. That is the part that is a bit of a challenge for the accumulator. And I'm now going to jump into their challenges and it will help you understand why that is a challenge. So the accumulator has 3 different challenges, as do all of the Sacred Money archetypes. And the first one that is a challenge for the accumulator is secrecy. So the accumulator can be quite secretive with their money. They don't like being open with their money. They can also be quite judgmental of how other people spend their money, which is part of that secrecy as well. So they will be judgmental on how other people spend their money if they're an accumulator, but they're not willing to also divulge their how they work with money, their savings, how much money they have. Ask an accumulator how much money they've got in the bank and they will shut down quicker than you know. It's not something that they are comfortable discussing. It's not something they want to talk about. So you will find it hard to have a conversation at times with the accumulator because yes, unless you have that real deep trust, and even sometimes then it's still quite awkward and hard to have that conversation, but it's helping the accumulator understand that they are safe. Remembering money equals safety to the accumulator. So having that money squirreled away makes them feel safe. Getting them to talk about it and to divulge about it, that doesn't bring them safety. So secrecy is a challenge, definitely a big challenge for the accumulator. The other challenge for the accumulator is the obsessiveness. Yes, they can be quite obsessive in their nature. And again, it is that, I guess that hoarding reflex, the wanting to hit the goal, like it's never enough. They need more to feel safe. They want to continue to bring that in. It's hard to get an accumulator to spend money. It really can be very hard. They often live well beneath their means. Again, because of that, it's not safe to spend money. That really does often, you'll find them, grabbing every coupon or trying to find the best ways to save money or going without or using, things over and over again, even though they can afford to buy something new. They don't like spending that money. They will instead be obsessive on how can they save money? How can they get away with not having to spend that? So you will see, as I said, the accumulator often living well beneath their means. The last challenge for the accumulator is that of guilt. It can be quite unnerving for the accumulator to have to spend money. When they spend money, they can be racked with guilt and shame. When they see their bank account balance go down, it can have that physical and energetic response to them. Like it is that whole, that shame, that guilt, that, oh my goodness, I shouldn't, like, why did I spend that money? Like, how am I going to now, then they move into the obsessiveness. How am I now going to get and get that money back again? So those are the challenges of the accumulator. It is that secrecy, it is the obsessiveness, and it also is that guilt that they feel when they go and spend money. So if we have a look once more at that sacred money contract for the accumulator, to respect the power of money by investing to create freedom. The investing part, the accumulator struggles with. They struggle with investing. They struggle with the idea that investing and spending money can actually bring them freedom. They are very respectful of money. They absolutely are on board with money, and they respect it, and they know the power of money. But telling an accumulator that to create the freedom they desire, they need to invest in themselves, or just invest in general, really is a challenge. So that's the sacred money contract of the accumulator. If you are the accumulator, just see again how that sits with you and how you can move and change your mindset and your ideas to be open to investing to create the freedom you desire. We have a couple of questions. I have a couple of questions for the accumulator, and this is to help create that sacred money alignment. So these questions are created to push the boundaries a little bit with the accumulator. It's to really try and challenge them to think out of their normal thinking, think outside of the box. So I'm just going to drop one of these questions in each time. If you're the accumulator, obviously if you're live, you'll need to come back, or you could scribble them down. But otherwise, if you're watching the recording, hit pause, give yourself some time and space to answer these, and you will have some amazing aha and gold coming out from it. So the very first sacred money alignment question I want to ask, if you're the accumulator, is what is frugality keeping you from doing or becoming? So what is frugality keeping you from doing or becoming? So that the way that you hoard and not spend, the way that you just accumulate that money, the way that you live beneath your means, how is that keeping you from doing or becoming what you desire to be? And that again, possibly bringing uncomfortableness for the accumulators out there. If you are one of the other sacred money archetypes, you'd be probably like, what? I didn't live beneath my means. Especially if you're the celebrity, but we'll get to her in the future weeks. So yes, how does living beneath your means really keep you from doing or becoming what you desire to be? The next question I want you to consider, if you are the accumulator, is I want you to imagine for a moment that nothing is going to happen that will diminish your savings for the next 5 years. Nothing can diminish them. The savings you got are safe. Nothing will happen. How will this change the way you live? And this is a big one for the accumulator, yes, after everything we've talked about that safety, about how they don't want to invest in themselves, how just spending money makes them feel guilty, feel shame, is really uncomfortable. If, as an accumulator now, your savings are safe, nothing can happen to them. They will be the same from now and for the next 5 years. How will that change how you live your life? Yes, and if you have got some answers to these that you're wanting to share, I would love for you to pop them in the comments as well. Share with us how it would change. And the last question I would love you to consider as the accumulator is, what are 3 investments you could make that would expand your vision? Now, as I said, remember, we're pushing the boundaries here because the accumulators don't like to invest. They don't like to spend that money. What are 3 things as an accumulator you could invest in that would expand your vision? Because that's one of the hurdles for the accumulator. Yes, they have these grand visions, but they don't feel safe in spending the money to bring that vision to life. So often you'll speak to an accumulator and they will tell you about their dreams and their goals, And then next time you see them, they'll tell you about the same dreams and goals, because what they need to invest in to be able to bring those to life, it really is such a deep-seated fear. They just can't bring themselves to do it often. Sometimes they will, but often they won't. So as an accumulator, just thinking, what are 3 things you could invest in that will bring your vision to life? Yeah, that's what we're here for. Remember, what are you investing in to create your freedom? That is the same, yes. What investments could you make? So as I said, if you'd love to share your ahas or the resonance you're having with what I'm saying, or any of those answers, I'd love to hear them. Drop them in the comments for me. And I'm going to leave you with now the empowering money mindset for the accumulator. Now again, this is something that is going to stretch a little bit, because this is a new truth that you are being invited to step into. Now that you know what the accumulator is like, as you've met the accumulator, and if you are an accumulator yourself, this is your new truth you're being invited to step into. And your empowering money mindset is to say yes to opportunities, because opportunities create wealth. So say yes to opportunities because opportunities create wealth. That's that new empowering money mindset that we invite the accumulator to take on, because as I said, that is what they'll struggle with. That's what they often struggle with. Yes, saying yes to opportunities, because even though they may want to say yes, they'll still go and have a look at the dollar figure. They'll still go and have a look at their investment. They'll still, they'll often go, I want to do that, but not at the moment. Yes, so this is the empowering money mindset. As the accumulator, you're invited to take with you as we wrap up today, and that is say yes to opportunities, because opportunities create wealth. Amazing, amazing. So that is, as I said, that is the accumulator. As a very quick recap and introduction in this mini masterclass to meeting the accumulator, over the next 3 weeks, I will be bringing you the other 6 accumulators, the other 6 Sacred Money Archetypes. You can catch them Monday, Wednesday, Friday, next week and the week after. And we will be going through each of them. As I said, even if they're not in your top 3, I encourage you to come and meet each of the archetypes, each of these Sacred Money Archetypes, because they will give you such an informed understanding of what is happening, not only in your money world, but also in those around you as well. So that is where I'm going to invite you to come next. That is to come and listen and watch the rest of these mini masterclasses. We also have a program coming up, a self-paced program that will be getting launched at the end of November. So if you want to jump on the waitlist, if you want to be first to know about this program, it's self-paced, you can take yourself through it, and it will take you into such a deeper dive about the Sacred Money Archetypes, how you can use them, how they will support you, how you can create your wealth, and you can move through those money fears that your Sacred Money Archetype has been holding you to. The course and program introducing your Sacred Money Archetypes will absolutely support you to do that. So if you want to be first to know about it and be the first to get our special pricing just as we pre-launch, jump on our waitlist. You will find that in the comments, and the pinned post is a link for you to come on and jump on that. Or if you are just ready to discover and really dive deep into your Sacred Money Archetypes, as I said, you can come and spend 3 months with me. We will be looking not just at your top Sacred Money Archetype, we will look at your top 3, we'll look at your bottom 1, we'll have a look at your money fears, why those income ceilings are there. We will break through the money blocks that you have. It really is like discovering your money code. It is personalized, it is supportive, and you are going to walk away understanding completely why you have had the history you've had with money, and now how you can bring in that new history and a new future, with money. So I invite you also, if you want to just jump in one-on-one with me, come and do that as well. If you have any questions about the accumulator, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you next week as we continue this journey into meeting the Sacred Money Archetypes. I'm just going to double check and see if there's any other comments before I wrap up. All looks good. And I'm just going to spend one moment. Yesterday when we met the ruler, there was a word the ruler left us with, and that was a beautiful way for us to finish. I'm just going to go and just check in with the accumulator, with that energy of the accumulator, and see if there's anything the accumulator wishes to impart as well with you before we tie up today. This will also give you a chance, as I said, to pop any comments and any questions in if you're here live or even watching the recording. That accumulator. Okay, so the accumulator's message for us today is just to breathe. To breathe. The accumulator understands and knows how stressful it can be with money and trying to keep this outer appearance that you have complete control over money, when inside you're absolutely just entangled and caught up and absolutely worrying about every bill and freaking out that you have, that you've got to spend your money. The accumulator is asking you just to breathe. Just to breathe. Every time you feel that stress, every time you feel that guilt, every time you feel that shame about spending money, or you really want to invest but there's that feeling, the accumulator is saying breathe, breathe and breathe. The accumulator is saying remember about our ability to be able to invest to create our freedom. You have such an amazing ability to save and look after money. And know you are safe to invest. Know you are safe to create the freedom and your vision that you desire. And just breathe. Amazing, amazing. That is a little message there from the accumulator, the energy of the accumulator. I will be back, as I said, next week to introduce you to 3 more Sacred Money Archetypes. Check out the events on our Facebook page so you can get all of the details. Otherwise, I will see you beautiful ones really soon. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye for now.